Yes,
I
thank you.
guess that answers the question, Jim. Where's Nelson?
He went from under the chair to on top of it. All right, get down. Get down. Come on. Thank you. Ugh. Hear church bells in the distance. It must be 6 o'clock.
It is.
It is 6 o'clock. I could hear him too. Jim, what's that fish that's over your shoulder?
Oh, isn't that cool? Yeah, that's it's my wind indicator.
Oh,
Of course, here it can only come in one direction or the other. East or north or south. That's the only option.
yeah. Well, you're kind of
About 5 years old. It holds up well.
Huh.
It's cute.
We got one up at Pentwater, so I had to have one for here.
There you
I
go.
think that's called a sergeant major. And when you're diving down in the Caribbean, the islands, you can be surrounded by hundreds of those at a time.
Yeah, it's got the same shape as that, right?
Yeah. Well, the striping is what I looked at.
Yeah.
Hence the name Sergeant Major.
Looks like we have about 2 more minutes before 6 o'clock.
We need to call the church, Christy, and tell them their bells are off schedule.
Well, no, my phone says it's 6. I
Me
think
too.
the Village Hall runs 2 minutes behind because
The computer.
fancy-
My
clock is
watch says
here.
it's 6 o'clock.
Okay, I will hit the record button and you can start.
Let's record. I'm
We
gonna-
are recording and live on YouTube.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to text Darren right now and let him know we're starting. Poor Darren. Okay. It is 6:00 exactly on Monday, August 24th. This is a meeting of the Chagrin Falls Village Finance Committee. With us from our committee members, Darren Wyville and Jim Newell. And then from the administration, we have Rob Jameson, Mayor Tomko, Dave Bloom. Also joining us from council are Andrew Rocky, Nancy Rogoff, and Mr. Lannon, the village engineer. Okay, so we have some fun stuff to go through tonight. Most notably, let's start with tax revenue.
Okay.
Mr. Bloom?
We have the usual 3 reports that we give you every month. Chris, do you want to bring up the first one, the revenue analysis table?
I will.
And that one will show much better news or much better position than we did a month ago. There we go.
Yeah.
Especially in the top section, if you look at the income tax, you can see our August collections were just under 900,000, which is by far the highest ever in 1 month.
Wow.
Yeah, so where at the end of July, we were down about 25% over last year or below last year. Now we're just under 7% within last year's total through August. So we
Um,
climbed back quite a bit in the income tax section.
do you
Dave,
think because we see that 899, I mean, normally when you look at past years, you see a bulge in May and June.
Correct.
Do you think we're really going to see less of a bulge in September?
September is never a large collection, but October and part of November are.
Well, no, I just mean because it seems to be within the 60 days after filing, we seem to get the bulge.
Yeah, it's very possible that September could be higher than usual too. That's what I would think.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, do you think that that's obviously a good and impressive number, but I look at the parity between 18, 19, and 20 through the first really trimester, looks fairly level, and then looks like we got a little bit of a beating
Correct.
in May, June, and July. Are we just in the rears? Are we just catching up due to a billing cycle?
Yes.
Why is that number so big?
It was due, the state of Ohio delayed the filing deadline from April to July.
Right.
So nobody was filing in April, obviously, and the July is not just higher collections, it's also all the deferred collections. So people had to actually file their income tax and pay their first estimate, first quarterly estimate was due also.
I think, Jared, to Aaron's question before, we're really going to need to see September and October to know where we normalize.
We do.
Because there was such a lot of noise in, with the moving of the due date and just the chaos of the, February through, even now with the corona. So, it's still very much a work in progress, and we're going to need probably September and October to know where we are on a normalized basis.
Right. If you remember, Rita estimated that, and I don't know how well this is holding up, but it looks like it is, that we would lose about $400,000 this year, actually lose that much money. But then the deferral was a big delay in collection, and you can see that that's starting to come back now.
Mhm.
So I would anticipate we're still going to be down, 300, 400, 500,000 maybe at year end.
Yeah, and for
That would
next,
be way better than what we were a month ago, if you look at that.
yeah. Darren, and again, what we're doing for next year, we've started the planning process already by having the department heads look at scenarios where revenue is off 5, 10, and 15%, and preparing scenarios under those, to match kind of the income. We have some cash balances that we can draw down, and we haven't hit the reserve fund, rainy day fund for any amounts of money, and I don't anticipate hitting it this year. So we're going to go into next year, assuming things don't get materially worse, in pretty good shape. We still have the whole $400,000 reserve that we can tap, as well as we can draw down some cash balances, as well as cutting some further expenses.
Do
So
we know?
I think we're in okay shape. Obviously, I think everybody in the country wishes we were in a better economy, but it is what it is.
So I saw that the Ohio State House passed some additional care, is releasing additional CARES dollars. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, Aaron, we just found out about that this afternoon. I don't know how much is coming our way. Obviously, I'm going to try to find out tomorrow. That news came in about 3 o'clock, and I don't know anything now other than what you saw, but I will get that information as soon as I can, and I will send it out to all of council.
So I guess what everyone else in here should hear is that additional CARES dollars seem to have been released. We got an alert today from the Ohio Municipal League, but without much detail about what those dollars can be used for. I know there has been a push to be able to use them to offset some of the reduced tax revenue municipalities are seeing and have it be not just as dollars spent on proactive pandemic response, which is what the original dollars, the first batch of dollars have been used for. So I just am curious if we have more flexibility in those dollars, because I would personally like to not tap into that reserve fund if we can at all avoid it.
Absolutely, Aaron. I agree with you 100%.
I know we're all just getting comfortable with the idea because it just broke this afternoon, but are these candidates who initially got CARES Act money for the same criteria? Or is this a new pool?
It's for municipalities, townships. It's
Okay.
for local governments that did not receive dollars directly from the federal government, is how I read it.
Got it.
Yeah, I think also the first disbursement came through the county. And I
Correct.
think this one's coming directly from the state. So I guess the short answer is I'm not sure and I don't know, but we'll find out tomorrow.
So stay tuned. Could be more good news coming our way.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
One other possible pool of money we may be receiving is, I heard from our contact at the Bureau of Workers' Comp
Mhm.
that they are looking at another rebate.
Oh,
We
nice.
already got 35,000 back in April, and they're looking at rebating the 2019 premium, which for us would be in the ballpark of 30,000, a little more.
So it's 20,
that is-
can you talk me through that? Where are those dollars coming from?
The cash balances of the Bureau.
The governor's looking to find some way to give municipalities cash here, and since he doesn't have anything in the budget, he's tapping the workman's comp reserve funds and
Mhm.
distributing that to the municipalities.
And
It's not
workman's comp
common.
is different than unemployment, correct?
Is it what?
Workman's comp is different than like the unemployment.
It is different, right? That is the Department of Human Services. that
It's
has
for
that.
people to get hurt on the job, Aaron, think of that.
Okay,
It's not uncommon to get a annual rebate there from workman's comp.
No, it's basically an insurance fund.
Yeah, especially lately, they've been giving rebates almost every year. And this
I would love
year-
to have that $30,000 for other village
so
things.
that would be good. So we don't have any confirmation of that yet, but they're looking at that.
Cool. Well, let us know as you hear more.
We will.
Okay, let's look at the rest of this.
The other funds or sources on this document are actually pretty good. The local government fund, which we thought would be negatively affected. Oh, go back, Christie, to the other one. Sorry. Local government fund, you'll see there, that is holding its own. We are up about 13% over a year ago to date through August. So that is holding up. And the gasoline tax is also up. We're up about 50% over last year to date.
Don't forget that reflects rather the increase in
Correct.
gasoline taxes. That's
Right.
not necessarily reflecting additional driving.
Right, it's the increase in the rate probably.
Okay.
So both of those, we thought we'd have a pretty negative effect from the COVID shutdowns, but they're both holding up really well.
Are we at all worried that parking meter fees went from 4,000 this July of this year to only 1,800 in August of this year? I mean, I don't know what we could work. I don't know how we can manage that, but do we think that's going to impact? Do we think that's going to be an early indicator of an impact to our local merchants?
Yeah, could be, hard to tell.
It's
I would think.
so
it's
far,
definitely
Aaron,
less
there's
traffic.
no parking problem. And we've lightened up dramatically on the enforcement. What we are still enforcing is the agreement in the plaza, but basically we're not, aggressively ticketing at all for the on-street meters
Hence the
or
one
on-street parking.
in fines.
So I have not heard a single complaint.
I have not either. Okay.
Okay. Any questions on this spreadsheet at all?
Nope.
Again, we're much better position than we were a month ago.
Yeah.
In all three funds that get the income tax. The next report, Christie, is the one that says general fund on the top. There we go. Thank you. Pretty much like at the end of, well, again, this is July. The last report showed through August, give or take a couple days. This one, we're going back to the actual July 31st ending date.
Mhm.
You can see at the bottom, we should be at around 58% at this point in the year. And in total, we're down about a little over 2%. And just about every department, well, every department is below the target percentage. The dispatch and the ambulance service, which look like they're high, always have an extra payment because we pay them a month ahead.
Right. And
So-
same with police, right? I mean, there's,
Which
their
one?
budget is police is mostly salary, which is why they're right on target.
Right. Correct.
I would say, all the department heads are keenly aware of,
Mhm.
the financial impact of this COVID and are acting accordingly. And the compliance and the support we've got from the various departments is truly exemplary.
Okay. Well, yeah, I agree. I feel like everyone's been responsive when I've talked to them about different elements.
Yeah, I mean, again, it is what it is and we have to deal with it. And so far, everybody's dealing with it.
Yeah, they're doing very well. The month of July also had 3 payrolls in it due to the timing.
Mm,
So that also skews these numbers up a little bit, I would think,
okay.
overall. That should, they should drop further, I would think, in the month of August.
Okay.
And the last report, unless there's questions on the general fund.
No. And if we have counsel who are not on the committee of questions, feel free to raise your hand or
Mhm.
do the Q&A whenever you want. Well, I'm watching it.
This report also looks like it did at the end of June. The only fund that looks like it's below the projected balance is the general fund as of July 31st. That is before we got that large amount of income tax. So that'll kick in August and probably reverse that. We should be
Okay.
pretty close to our projection at the end of August. All the other funds are looking really good. Street fund is about 200,000 ahead of the target. Capital projects, we're doing pretty well. And the utilities are also doing well, water and sewer.
Yeah, you'll hear in the council reports from either the chief administrative officer or the engineer. The street program is going to start probably in the next week or two. There's a pre-con meeting tomorrow. So that's 300,000 roughly. And that will take care of the,
So draw down that balance, right?
yeah. So just so everybody's aware of that.
Okay.
And then have we seen pretty timely payments then for the most part in the water department? Is that what's helping those numbers?
Yeah,
We've
we're,
had no issue, guys.
we're about where we always are. And again, we haven't turned anybody off, and we keep contacting the people that haven't paid yet of the July bill to contact us and work out a payment plan. So I think we're about where we always are at this time.
Yeah, we've had no trouble managing.
Okay.
No,
Through the
no,
shutdown.
again, it's seems like it's all working.
Fabulous. Good job.
Mhm. Any questions on these before we move on? No?
Nope.
Okay. Next up would be the capital improvement.
Look, we're got big faces again. Are we going to screen share the capital improvement plan again?
I'm sorry?
Do we want to screen share the capital improvement plan?
Yeah, we can.
And
Yeah. Rob, you're gonna screen share, yeah.
Yes, I am. I'm working on that right now.
Fantastic. Look at that teamwork. I love it.
There we go.
I like the screen share so that everyone else watching can see what we're looking at.
And we can also look at the screen instead of down on our lap for the schedule.
I know.
Well, I guess just to lead it off for a second, I mean, everything on this capital budget you've already seen when we approved the capital expenditures. What we've done is defer everything that we thought was deferrable. Nothing has been canceled per se. And we appear as, Dave, hold that right, or Christy, hold that right there. As you notice, the
It's me.
beginning cash balance of $1,290,000. And if we stay where we are, we're going to finish the year at $1,304,000. So we're within $15,000 of up from where we started the year. So we're in good shape with this plan too. And I think here everything's working. With that, I'll turn it over to Rob.
Yeah, I would want to add one little intro piece. And normally council, we approve the village budget in March. And then
Right.
in April, we come through and we go through all these capital projects because we approve them generally independently because they're bigger and it's just a dollar costs. So,
Absolutely true, Aaron. Just because you approve the budget isn't the authorization to spend.
right.
That's separate and distinct. So
And so the mayor,
I'm just saying if it continues as planned, we're going to finish the year slightly up. So
Oh,
that's good
agreed.
news.
yeah, I just wanted to give background for anyone watching who's not, because we're doing this in a slightly different way than we have in the past. And if people find us on YouTube and don't understand why we're looking at this in August, just want to give some clarity for general.
Good point.
So we're just going to talk through these elements, just so everyone on council understands what projects we have on the horizon, what's been done. A lot of these have been talked about before in council over the past couple years, at least. So, okay, Rob, all you. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Madam President. What we have done through the whole list here, we've organized all our projects. The projects that are indicated in red are ones that we're placing on the deferral list at this time. Projects that have already been ordered or encumbered are in green. And then projects that are in black are ones that we're either in the process of doing or intend to do, but we haven't expended any or encumbered any money for yet, any funds for. And then blue are projects that we've totally completed and finalized our payments. I'll start off at the top. The first project is the Bell Street Storm Outfall Erosion Repair. We've had that in the budget for several years. We've reviewed all of these with the village engineer, with Tim Lannon, and discussed what we can defer and what we can move forward with right now. That's one project where we do want to address it at some point, but it's not a critical matter to address right away.
Can I pause you really quick right there?
Sure.
Christy, could we bring Tim Lannon into the webinar as a panelist?
Yes, of course.
Thanks. Just in case we have questions, then he's already in here. Thanks. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, the second item is the columbarium structure. The council approved the purchase of. We move forward with that. That item is currently on order and we have the base installed. We're awaiting further word on when that will be coming in. That's to accommodate the additional needs of burial space at the cemetery.
We're almost out of space at the existing columbarium.
Yes, correct. We're very close. Item 3 is the expansion project. This is the area of converting the former fill area and the enclosed culvert, converting that and open airing the stream, filling in low areas, and eventually creating additional in-ground burial space. We had originally budgeted $10,000 in there for movement of dirt and excavating of spoil material that had been buried there over the years. This year, we're only going to expend about $3,000 in topsoil and seed material for some work that the service department was able to do with some fill dirt that we had acquired for the site. So for this year, we're only going to be spending $3,000. There'll be additional money spent next year if we can afford it, if it can fit into the budget to continue that project.
Rob, that's also, you might want to point out for council or anyone listening, was the subject to a EPA 319 grant request in the amount of $400,000, which we did not get this year. We will be reapplying for that grant for next year. And the idea would be not to undertake this project until we receive that grant financing.
Yeah, the work that you've done over the past couple of weeks up at the cemetery to with the dirt and the land and stuff looks fantastic. It looks nice. And also just a fun fact, it takes the ground like 3 to 5 years, like something crazy, in order to settle before we can actually bury people there. So we have to get these things done before we run out of in-ground plots. It's the things you learn.
Yes. The next item is converting the old mausoleum or the old maintenance shed structure that's near the street into a mausoleum. We had planned to spend $25,000 on that, on the preparation work for that as phase 1. And that project, those dollars have been deferred and that project's on hold. Eventually, we would like to return to that project as well. The $25,000 was for work on the roof. work on some, running some electrical to the site for lighting, and then to seal up the foundation and prepare it for the installation of the crypt structure inside the mausoleum. The next item is the Greenbrier project. This was carryover dollars that were needed to close out the project when it was finished at the beginning of 2020, and that has since been done. That's now been concluded. The next item is the Arboretum Trail, Vincent Street Arboretum, going down to the lower area by the river. That project, we received a NatureWorks grant in the dollar amount of $65,000, which we believe will be able to carry over to next year.
No, that's been confirmed, Rob. That is carrying over to next year.
Yep, that's why I said we believe it to be. And the total dollar amount that would we expend for that project. That's something that we can move on when we have the funding and we're on solid ground. The next item is an ODOT invoice payment for Mill Street. That's for when we had the Mill Street project. There was an additional overrun of just under $100,000 for ODOT costs regarding that project. And we're paying that back in $25,000 increments. As you can see in the notes or the comments section to the right, after we make the payment on this, we'll have about $48,000 remaining to pay off that debt. The next item is the police and fire station improvement project. We have $5,000 in there for architecture and engineering fees. That's to keep the permitting process through the State Board of Building Standards alive as we go forward, since that project's been moved down the road for funding availability and also cost. We have to keep the permit going with the state, and this is to coordinate those efforts and then to tweak anything in the permit process. The next item is the costs for the Police Station Village Hall sanitary sewer replacement. That work has already been completed, and that line is new going up to West Washington Street. The next several items involve debt repayments. First is loan payments for the Solon Road projects, payments back to Ohio Public Works Commission. The item after that is the loan payment for the 2017 General Capital Improvements loan that was taken out. The next item is OPWC loan payments for Falls Road, West Washington, and Mill Street projects. And the final is the OPWC loan payment for the treatment plant, the last project that was done at the plant. So all the data, the details for how much is remaining on those, on that debt is shown in the comment section on the right-hand side. Moving along, the Riverside Park walkway replacement, $10,000 was deferred on that project. We hope to entertain that in the future. The road program that we just recently approved, although the award amount was under the $360,000 budgeted, this includes engineering costs, and we decided to leave the full amount in here to see in case we want to add any additional areas for large area patching, depending on our cash position at the time. So when you factor in engineering and those other costs, we're leaving that number the same. The next item is the 2020 sidewalk repair program. We'd like to continue with planning for that project and move forward with that as it affects the safety of our pedestrians in the community. So we did not defer that. We left that in the budget.
What's your timeline on that? When do you think we would?
We've started discussions on that already. Of course, we didn't have the full green light from council, but we did have it in the budget, and we have been working on ideas and areas to concentrate with that. So we'll be preparing that fairly quickly if council agrees to move forward with that. Okay. Salt storage building, that was already on a deferral list to begin with. We had no money in the budget for that project. Next item is the savings and loan bank building move to the cemetery. This is the structure that's located on Hall Street that has been proposed to be given to the village for to be moved down to the cemetery to be the office at the cemetery down by the maintenance building. Those dollars have been deferred, $45,000. East Washington Street project, those dollars remain as originally budgeted. We do expect some reduction in the total amount out of each section based on our bid numbers that came in, but we're not totally sure on engineering and inspection costs. So we want to leave those numbers at their full amount for right now. Next item is the fire department ladder truck annual lease payment. That's something we have to pay. We're in the final, I believe that's the year 6 of a 10-year lease for that truck. So we're committed to that expense. The next item is the Triangle Park sidewalk replacement. This is $40,000 towards the replacement of the brick surface. And this was going to be the final phase of that project to replace the brick on the outer perimeter of the triangle. As you can see, we've already done the crossover areas and the center circle area and some of the side access sections of that. And this would close the project out. That's all of what's there now is still walkable. It's just to finish it off. We'll replace that brick hopefully next year. The next item is the Vincent Street Hillside Stabilization Study. We want to leave that money in there. If you've driven down Vincent Street, coming off of Bell Street, there's a section off to the side where the hillside's slipping, the guardrail's moving. We have some safety delineators put up there and a sign for safety to let people know of the sinking berm. Tim has started some initial preliminary look at that area, and we're hopefully going to be moving forward with an entire stabilization study to prescribe the right treatment to correct that problem by the end of the year.
So we're going to study how it's slipping, what's causing the damage that we can see, and then they'll come up with a plan for how to re-support the roadway, and then we'll need to put that in line for construction.
That's correct.
You can see the guardrail on the sign leaning, and it's rather dramatic. It doesn't appear that the rate of lean is increasing, or if it's increasing, it's very slowly. So we don't think this is an emergency yet, but it could become one.
Yeah, I don't want that to be an emergency.
No.
Something we definitely have to keep on a priority list.
Agree. Okay. So we think we'll know more by the end of this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Next item is the bond payment for the water meter project. That money is left in there as a requirement of our commitment. The next item is item 24 is the water well drilling. 2 new wells. We had nothing budgeted in. That project's been deferred. We're still ongoing. We still have an ongoing analysis on our existing wells and in examining our flow rates and looking at how much we can maximize the potential out of our existing wells before we make any decisions as far as the need to drill new wells. So that analysis is ongoing, and we hope to know more into next year.
Okay.
Next item is the wing wall refurbishment. We had funds budgeted for engineering and planning this year because when the capital plan originally was put together, it was unknown the exact timing of when the Main Street Bridge would be replaced. We've had further discussion with the county, looking like this is going to be bid out about a year from now, awarded next fall, with construction starting late 2021 and 2022. So we don't anticipate any costs associated with engineering or planning for the wing walls that are going to hopefully happen adjacent to the bridge within this year. So that those dollars have been deferred.
Just Rob, before you go on, I'd point out to council that the Riverside Park walkway replacement would be done at the same time the wing walls. So the idea in an ideal world is to get the bridge done by the county and replace the wing walls and the walk all at the same time. So we're not piecemealing the disruption of Riverside Park.
And the state has allowed us to continue to defer the funds, right?
I'm sorry?
We haven't had any issues from the state about deferring the funds for the wing wall refurbishment?
Yeah, that I believe is deferred. That I'm not certain of. The NatureWorks grant I am certain of. And I doubt that there's going to be any problem with deferrals with the state.
Right. I believe we're in solid footing with that.
Yeah.
Item 26 is the treatment plant, the phase 1 costs, as well as the design for phase 2 and 3. We're moving forward with all those, and we've awarded the phase 1 contract. So that's now moving forward. All our funding is in place for that. We received the grants and loans for OPWC. Item 27 is the fire station vehicle exhaust removal system. That project's complete. We've paid for it out of capital funds, and we're now in the process of applying for the reimbursement through the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program that provided the majority of the funding for that, as well as the county match amount grant. So that money will be forthcoming here in the next few months.
Yeah, I'm thrilled that that project's done for them.
Yes. The final item is just miscellaneous project engineering and planning. We have a lot of issues that come up through the year. Traffic engineering, small, kind of a cleanup budget item to cover incidentals for engineering. And we've left that money in there because almost every year we use that amount.
Okay.
Those sorts of projects. So be glad to answer any questions anyone has.
Yeah, I do want to point out, I just noticed on item number 23, that should be in the water column. Water.
Oh.
fund. So
Oh, okay.
we can make that change later. I just saw that right now.
Okay.
It's paid out of water revenues.
Do we have any questions, Darren, Jim, any thoughts?
No, it all looks good.
Yeah, I think we're in very good shape, given what we've been through and the economy's been through. I think we've all managed well.
Yeah, it seems like the deferral of projects that need to be deferred are not, super.
Yeah,
And, we haven't had to, make drastic cuts. We've deferred things. We've been economical where we can. And the tax revenues held up better than expected. So, I think we've done as good a job as we can do.
Kind of a balancing act, but you're doing great.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, any other elements on this budget or any last circle back questions on the year-to-date financials?
No, I just want to say thanks to everybody for putting together such a comprehensive report. It seems like every time I go through these numbers, I have a better understanding. I don't know what it is about my learning curve, but and I'm just pleased that we have the cash receipts to cover our operating expenses. It's very encouraging.
Yeah, well, we cut expenses to match the income. We got to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate everything that you guys did to put this together so we could walk through it. When would council need to give you the okay on the sidewalk repair program?
Well, I mean, we could start preparing for it now. If it's just overall, if that's the direction people want to take, we can start working on that.
Aaron, I see
Sooner the better.
this whole COVID thing broke out early this year. I see nothing but a dramatic increase in pedestrian traffic on the sidewalks. Really, all days and into the night, people are out walking.
Agree. I mean, my inclination would be that you guys should put that together. I don't think you need a formal committee recommendation from us to do that, but.
No.
Who will run down the additional CARES Act potential money and the workers' comp rebate? Is that a Dave thing? And is there anything we can do to help?
Aaron, I can't understand you.
Sorry, who will run down the additional CARES Act money that might be available and the workers' comp rebate? Is that a Dave thing? Is there anything we can do as a committee to help?
No, we'll get that out to you very shortly. The workman's comp rebate is just proposed at this point. The CARES Act is real, but as I said, we just found out about it at about 3 o'clock, and there was just an announcement that they were releasing the money, but not how, who, where, anything. So we'll get that, and then, obviously, hopefully tomorrow, and I'll get it out to everyone on council.
Okay. Any questions from Andrew, Nancy? I see you guys on there. Any questions? Okay. Hearing none, then I guess we are going to adjourn the Finance Committee meeting at 6:36, and council will reconvene at 7 o'clock p.m. right here on Zoom.
Thank you.
YouTube.
Thank you.
Thanks.